Welcome to Vlogmas Day 5. Today we're doing the 10-year challenge, and I'm not showing my face over 10 years. What I thought I'd show you is 2 quilts that I did in 2009 and 2 quilts that I'm doing and finishing in 2019. One's a quilt top. So 2009 wasn't my best year. I was sick, I had surgery, I had treatment, and it was a long grind of a follow-up. So I like to look at these quilts because they remind me of getting through it, just getting through it. And they were very helpful and therapeutic in all of the hours I spent by myself getting better. My family was working. I actually had to be quarantined for a couple days for radioactive iodine treatment after they removed my thyroid. And, so there's a lot of hours of being by yourself. And so what does a quilter or a maker do? Well, you make quilts, and so I did. Both of these quilts came from the Eleanor Burns book, Victory Quilts, published in approximately that period. I have watched every Eleanor Burns video that she made for PBS as well as on YouTube, and I'll be honest, she really helped me learn how to quilt. Love you, Eleanor Burns, and these two are some of my favorite from the Victory Quilts. The first one is a full-size quilt, meaning it's probably twin size, maybe a little bit bigger. It's called Comfort Quilt, and it uses a very simple, probably 9 or 10 inch block that has squares and bars. The next one is my first smaller block sampler. It's 6 inches and it has different blocks that were throughout the book, all representing victory from World War II. So these were like popular blocks, both quilts from the World War II era. Now the next quilt is a pineapple quilt that I made earlier this summer. I recently, for my October challenge, took it apart and aligned the rows. I didn't have to take all the rows apart, but I did have to take one of them apart because I got sloppy and rushed. So it is a pineapple quilt that is using paper piecing. So I've evolved from traditional piecing, small blocks, first attempt, to paper piecing. Some are 12 and some are 6.5 inch blocks. And they are a old-fashioned pineapple with modern colors and a white background. And then the last quilt I'm going to show you is a Moda Bake Shop quilt that was a choose-your-own-adventure in a round robin or a medallion style. Each row you could choose which block you wanted, and I free motion quilted that custom, and I really like that quilt a lot. In fact, so much I don't want anyone to use it, and I might just have to keep it in my do not touch stack because it's so pretty, and it's using some of my favorite fabrics, which is from Moda, French General, and then I put some other types of scraps in with it. So let's look at the quilts, and I've told you the story. 2009 to 2019 helped me at a time where I needed it, when I was recuperating. And now quilting is really where I spend most of my free time. They are on my long arm frame. Lighting in Michigan is bad in December. So we're going to do the best we can do with the lighting that we have. And let's look at the quilts in the 10-year challenge. This is the Eleanor Burns Comfort Quilt. It was a very popular quilt during the World War II era. I used modern, more Asian-inspired fabrics. And this is one of the very first quilts that I long-armed, free motion quilted all over curls. So that is on point too. That was a big skill to learn. The Comfort Quilt. This quilt is the Victory Quilt with all the different samples of little 6-inch blocks from the Eleanor Burns book. And I love it. I even used Eleanor Burns fabric that she designed specifically for this particular quilt. Lots of new skills on point, and I had a great time making this. You can see a little airplane and the nosegay. That was a tough block there. Now the other part that I found really hard to do was Y seams, and that was in the Hope of Hartford quilt block, which is that one right there. We'll come down a little closer. And look at the rocket. Man, that was so much fun. Makes me want to make this quilt again. Just love these traditional blocks, but I love making them with a little bit more of a modern twist. So let's look at 2019 quilts. This is the pineapple quilt that I finished this summer. I used paper piecing pineapple pads is what they're called, from Fat Quarter Shop, and I used scraps of my prints of Tula Pink, and I used Tula Pink Zuma fabric in this. Look at the little chipmunk. Yes, this has been in my bin to quilt, and I'm not exactly sure how I want to custom quilt this, or if I want to do all over feathers or what. I've been thinking about it, and until I make a decision, it's going to be a quilt top. But that was done in October, and I'm very, very happy with it. This particular quilt was that Moda Bake Shop free pattern where you chose each round around the medallion. So every round you had options. Love the fabric, and I really love all of these cute tiny blocks. Look at how little some of them are. So with the tiny blocks, I quilted some tiny things. I feel like I was able to practice my free motion quilting and also practice making some design choices. Wow, look at that quilting compared to where I was in 2009 with just the curls. Put little tiny feathers in these and leaves. Oh yeah, I got a string there. I really like how that feather turned out. So, the 10-year challenge. I've quilted long enough I can do it. I have to say, I'm really proud of this. And it makes me feel really good to look at where I came from and where I'm at today. Yep. So when you do a 10-year challenge, whether it be quilting, looking at yourself, or other things that you've been doing, be proud. Look at where you came from, where you're going, where you're at. So this has to be bound yet. You can see I didn't quite finish it. And that will be my next project for the winter. I'm binding, I got about 6 or 8 quilts that need to be bound. So everybody have a most wonderful day and enjoy your Vlogmas. And yes, I am still using the same Baby Lock Jewel long arm. It doesn't have any computerized programming on it except for a stitch regulator. All free motion quilted. I'm pretty proud of that one. You guys have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later. Next video, I will see you tomorrow.